All right. Paolo, appreciate you being here, man. One thing I appreciate with Cristobal is that he is willing to make a change in the staff instead of pretending all is well with previous coaches did.
I agree. It's a thing that we've talked about pretty much every offseason. There are issues. We're going to go fix the issues, right? Uh, initially it'll be, Blake Baker didn't work for him, but, Kevin Steele and Josh Gaddis. That ain't it. That ain't it. Sorry. I thought, Josh Gaddis, again, a guy coming off of a Burroughs Award at Michigan, but there was whispers and rumors about how much of affect he actually had on that offense and things like that. Cool. Came here, didn't work. See ya. Kevin Steele, same thing. Cool. You get Lance Guidry. Things trended in the right direction for a year. Second year, it didn't. See ya. Hey, cannot wait around on these things. And I don't, people, you guys have asked me and things. Oh, is Mario on a hot seat? No, he's not. But yeah, I do also agree with you, Paulo. He sees where the cracks in the foundation are instead of just being like, maybe it doesn't rain this rainy season and my house doesn't crumble down because of these foundational cracks. No, he's like, cool, we're going to get a contractor in here and we're going to rebuild the structure so that we have what we need. And I applaud the attempt, right? You went and got Josh Gaddis on the first staff. Didn't work. Cool. We're going to go and do something else. So, yeah, it does take someone with a grounded kind of foundation to admit that, because we've seen from these other staffs, right, these other coaches, if they would have done what needs done, then who knows what the trajectory would have been. I mean, guys, it is incontrovertible at this point, after stints with the Detroit Lions and the Cincinnati Bengals, that Al Golden knows how to coach defense as the defensive coordinator of a team playing for a national championship who won an Orange Bowl, right? I'm not going to get too much into that. But when he was here, he had Mark D'Onofrio and either, I believe, directed or empowered him to run a defense that was bullshit, respectfully, excuse my language, but this is a guy who knows more football than I'll ever forget. But now he's doing a thing in a way where it's like, bro, if you would have had half of that when you were coaching here, because if you go back and you look at, and this is the thing we're going to do in the offseason, going back and ranking the coordinators, right? If you go back and look at the coordinators that Al Golden had and the offenses that Miami had at those times, it wasn't for the lack of scoring points that we lost these games. The fact that Georgia Tech ran for 937 yards. Well, sorry, that was the North Carolina game against Manny Diaz at one time. But that we couldn't get off the field, that we couldn't keep teams from scoring points. And now this man is coaching up a team, a defense that could win a national championship. But he refused to change the paradigm in the staff then. We know that Mark Richt wouldn't fire his son, who respectfully didn't have the range to coach in college and has not gotten another look at any coaching level other than starting his own private coaching thing and coaching high school or whatever, which is its own wonderful journey. But he went pro in something other than professional sports. If we're being honest, he didn't have the range, and Mark Richt needed to give up the keys from calling the plays, and he refused to do so. We've seen it, right? And yeah, I'm getting worked up about it because I'm a passionate person. But yeah, Paulo, the fact that we've seen the shenanigans of these other coaches in by their actions, right? Because I know that you can say whatever you want, but actions speak louder than words. By their actions say, we know better than anybody else who is giving critiques. Shut up, sit there, take it, like it. We only have this. There is no other option. I know what it is and what it should be. You don't know anything. Leave me alone. We've seen that by their actions, right? But by Mario Cristobal's actions, he is also noted and acknowledged, and I know that he wants to be Greg Popovich, Bill Belichick. I'm not going to say anything, and I'm going to be buttoned up and, these very terse comments all the time. But even if he's not sitting here like I am, waxing poetic about this went wrong and that went wrong and da-da-da-da, if it doesn't go to standard, see ya. And I think that's what it needs to be, because let's be honest, college sports are professional sports. And if you're not doing the job and you're not winning games, you gotta freaking go. So shout out to him for doing that and having the fortitude and the grounding to admit by the action the path that I was taking was incorrect. I thought it was going to work. It did not. I'm changing course. That's what we were begging for. I begged on here, begged Al Golden, begged Mark Richt for. I begged them to do this kind of thing, and they didn't. I enjoy having a coach where the standard is the standard, didn't lower it, right? So championships, competing for, whether that's conference, whether that's national, whatever you want to call it, championships are the standard. And we're not in a position to get towards that. So we're going to move you aside, wish you well, and find someone who I believe will help us along the path towards that kind of success.
Absolutely. I see it like this. This is a high reward job. Therefore, it needs to be a high expectation job.
Thank you.
This defensive coordinator makes $1 million a year. That's what a coordinator makes at one of the premier jobs in the country. This is not a situation where, and again, I don't like to see people get fired, but it's not like I've got an office and I've got a maintenance guy that just sweeps the floors and takes out the trash. And he missed room number 13 over here last week, and there's a little bit of dirt over here. I'm not going to fire him. I'm going to say, the guy makes $8 an hour. I'll hold him accountable, help him along. I don't want to see him get fired. He's going to continue to do the job. But these people are making millions of dollars to do exceptional work and provide and deliver exceptional results. And we can all rest assured that they've at least achieved a certain level in their profession, that they're not going to go hungry. They're going to go find another decent job. So, yeah, if there's been too many situations with high programs and that achieve at a pretty high level, like the two situations you just outlined, we saw one over the last 5 or 6 years at Iowa, where they continue to field the worst, god-awful offense imaginable, but the offensive coordinator was the coach's son. And so even with the top 5 defense and a great special teams unit, they just lived with that. No, guy makes $1 million a year. You're playing big time college football. Your head coach makes more money than anybody in this state. No, this is not acceptable.
No, I agree. And it's funny because I just looked it up. Mark D'Onofrio just got hired as UCF's defensive coordinator after having been inside linebackers at coach at Stanford for a couple of years, which I looked it up because you made the point. Hey, they're in this fraternity. They have these connections. These guys are going to eat. They're getting bought out, and then they're going to find another good job. Look, you worked at Stanford for 2 years, who I've openly said, like, if I had to do it over again in high school, probably would have been my dream school. And I probably would have pushed a little harder because I slacked a little bit in high school, which, hey, you do. But I probably would have just kept pushing as hard as I did to get into Cranbrook all the way through and, like, made that my target. That's an elite place, right? And then you work there. And then now you're back being a defensive coordinator somewhere else again. So, these things happen. But, yeah, shout out to Mario for admitting that things were going in a direction that needed correcting and working quickly to find that correction. And, hopefully with, the rest of the assistants that round out the staff, we'll see a group that we believe can and will coach the defense specifically to the level of excellence that we desire, so we can get these high expectations met and exceeded.